I've had a couple of pieces of white ash for 2 or 3 years. I've been saving them up. They're not enough by themselves to build an electric guitar body. So I've been holding on to them and slowly collecting bits and pieces of hardwoods until I could find a way to turn this into a body blank. And so what I'm doing now, these are 2 inches thick. I have 2 of them. One of them is a bit wider than the other, but we'll get to that. But they're slightly cupped on one side and of course bowed on the other. Now I could use a router and put it in a little jig that I have to flatten these out, but they're not so far out that I can't just go ahead and do it with a hand plane. And to be quite honest with you, I much prefer to work with hand tools when I can because they're quieter, they're less messy, all kinds of different reasons. They're a lot more fun and they are safer in my opinion. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to level this one out and flatten out the other one. And see what I can do with the rest of the wood in order to come up with a body blank that's large enough to build an electric guitar that I've been wanting to build for a while. And here I am checking for square on the edges. Back to the hand plane. I probably should have sharpened this plane, but I'm hogging up a hole, or hogging off rather, waste material, so it's not that big of a deal. Now I have this piece of what a lot of people would call walnut, but I think it's probably more like pecan wood, but they are in the same family of woods, or close to, and it's rough sawn, so I need to flatten it and take all the saw marks out of it and square up at least one edge of it. It's cracked on the end, but if I sandwich this between other pieces of wood, that crack probably is not going to matter all that much. If it does, I have a way to handle that as well. And I've flipped the board over now, I believe. I'm working on the other side. Checking it, making sure it's flat. No, now I'll flip it over and work on the other side. To me, it's interesting how one side of the wood is lighter than the other, and I think maybe there's sapwood on the one side. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's wood. It's going to vary. Sometimes in my head, that's kind of the beauty of it in the first place. But yeah, you see now the back of it, the other side of it, looks more chocolatey brown, like walnut would be. And so now I need to square up an edge. I really don't have to. That edge is going to face the top or back of the instrument, but just as well, it's not that hard to do. Here's that second piece of ash. You'll see that it is narrower than the first one. It's not quite as wide. But I'm going to flatten and smooth it out a bit as well. And now, what I'm going to do, the edges of this wood aren't quite square, so I'm going to take the table saw and cut just a thin part off, just to make it close to square, and then I'll take a hand plane and finish squaring it. Now, I do not have the safety device, I forget what it's called, the blade guard on my saw. The saw was given to me, it didn't cost me anything, but the blade guard's messed up and won't work properly. So when you see me doing this, understand that there's a disclaimer on my channel, a video that says it's your responsibility to observe all the safety regulations or the safety rules when you're using tools. I am not a professional. Nobody else can protect you but you. So understand that. No, I'm not trying to set an example for anybody. I'm just trying to work. And I take what risks I deem appropriate to what I have to work with. The board is wide enough where I can put my hand where it is with no issues. If it kicks back, I'll just let the wood go where it wants to. I'll move my flipping hand out of the way, hopefully. But if you don't force things, if you let the saw do the work, usually you don't have much of a problem. So I've squared everything off now. And that's my rant on safety, because I know people are going to go, oh, you shouldn't do all that because it's unsafe, and people, well, whatever. Use your own brain. You're responsible. Now, you remember I said this piece was wider? What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it so that it's the same width as the other. But this piece that I'm cutting off of here is not going to be thrown away. It's going to become a part of this body, just in another place, in between two other different types of wood. And this little strip here will end up being like a center strip. So now I have some maple, and I also have that pecan or walnut that I was smoothing out. And I want to cut strips of this the same width as this board here, this piece of ash. And so what I'm doing, I cut them all out. I used that board as a template to do that with, to do, get it as close as I needed to. And now you see what I'm going to be doing with this. We'll be back with the glue up. Bless you. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.